Okay, and here we are, back once again, trying to make some quality content, but this is for different purposes. Right now, what I'm doing is I'm testing. I did so many taste testing videos in the past that I've got to remember that this is not a taste testing video. That I'm just testing things, and what I'm testing today is this application, which is not OBS. This is not a new version of Linux, a new version of Linux to me, which is BunsenLabs. Now let me go ahead and see if I can pull up some information. Now this does work a little bit differently. I think it is based on Debian, but its layout is just a little different than what I'm used to. No applications. Applications did come pre-installed, but nothing on the desktop. So you access everything by just kind of right-clicking the desktop and just going. It's just menu-driven. So you just go down to, let's see here. I guess I'll just go to all applications, and we'll go to internet. There's X web browser and Firefox ESR. So we're going to go to Firefox. I'll just go to all programs. Internet. We'll try this Firefox ESR, see what happens. Oh, here we go. Mobile network login page. That makes sense. Accept the terms. Give it the 3 seconds it says it's going to take to redirect. Bam. On my local library's website. Bam. YouTube's working. So let's go. Oh, Mel Gibson. So let's go back to the desktop and again, yeah, this is BunsenLabs. Let me see if I can pull up anything like an about this operating system screen or something. Let's go to system settings and let's see about Bunsen alternatives. What? Okay, so it is based on Debian. Huh. Well, it's interesting. So again, I'm just distro hopping is the term that people use, and I'm just trying out new things. Eventually, I'm going to settle. I pretty much have settled on my main computer that I do most of my work with. I've got Pop! OS on there. Pop! OS was just something I chose because of its ease of use. Everything seemed to work out of the box. It had support for the NVIDIA video card that I have on my laptop. So yeah, so I just decided that why not, and so that's what's on my main laptop, which is an Acer Nitro. It was one that I had spent some time upgrading. The thing's got 32 gigabytes of DDR4 memory on top of having a what was once a 4 gig. I don't know how many gigabytes this video card has, but or graphics card, if I'm using the wrong terminology, but it's got it had a 4 gigabyte video graphics card, and then at some point Windows did an update, and I went back into system settings, and it started showing up as a 5 gigabyte graphics card. But anyway, I had devoted a lot of time and effort into kind of upgrading that computer and getting it to where just the way I liked it. Windows 10 was coming to end of life. I hadn't decided to upgrade to Windows 11 yet, and then when I finally decided I might as well, the processor wasn't approved to run Windows 11. What? So yeah, so it kind of put me in this really bad situation where I had no alternatives. Windows 10 was coming to end of life. Now on that computer, I am still running Windows 10. They gave us the opportunity to register some information. They did collect some of my information as part of this agreement, and they gave me another year extension on it. But that was back in October. It's February now, so we're 4 months past that, and it only gave me a year. So I'm assuming that's a year from October. Maybe it's all the way through 2026, but even if that's the case, at max, I would only have until the end of December. So it gives me 8 months, but possibly only, no, I'm doing my math wrong. That gives me 10 months, but possibly only 8. Um, so yeah, so I just immediately started looking for alternatives because like I said, I invested some money, and money in my life anyway takes effort to get a hold of, and I just wasn't ready for Microsoft or anybody to tell me that machine that I had put money and effort into upgrading was no longer viable, that I just couldn't use it any longer, and I had to toss it. Are you kidding? So I wasn't ready to accept that. So I started looking to alternatives, and I ended up buying some cheap used laptops and testing out different Linux operating systems. And on one of the computers that I do a lot of work on, I've got Pop! OS installed. But on this computer, which if anybody bothers to check my videos out, if you've watched any of my previous videos, you'll know that I bought this computer used at a local thrift store. I'm keeping the price tag on it. I think it says it was like $7.56 or something like that. $7.85. Sorry, I don't want to undersell you. $7.85 for this laptop. It is a much older machine. It's a HP Elitebook 8440p. I think it's like a first gen. It is a Core i5, but it's like a first gen Core i5. It does have some NVIDIA chip in here for graphics. It's not super powerful, but it's enough to get some things done. I'm able to install different versions of Linux, and depending on what I install, it seems like I can get certain things working. So, for instance, on this computer right now, what I've got installed, as you can see on my screen, is an OS called BunsenLabs, which is, from my understanding, it comes from, or it's based on, sorry if I wreck some terminology here, based on Debian, I believe. Although it uses a different type of package manager, which is really interesting. And the menu system is much different than what I'm used to working with. You would think that this is like a taskbar or something, but it doesn't have any kind of start button on it. The way that I've been able to launch applications on here is just by right clicking. So I just right click an empty spot on my desktop, and from here I can just go to like all applications, and then from there I have access to the applications that I've installed on here. I've installed some games. I always do K-Patience because that's a game that I like to play a lot. I'm not sure if you can see that on here because of the way OBS runs. Let me see what happens. I don't know. Let me just assume that you can. But the cool thing about it is I like this desktop image that comes as default on this version of Linux, because it's got a lot of your shortcuts listed right there on the desktop. I've never seen this before. It also lists my RAM, so it shows you how much RAM I'm using right now. It lists it as 7.61. That must be maybe the available RAM, because it should be 2 sticks of 4 gigabytes of DDR3 RAM. So it should have 8 gigabytes of RAM, but it says I have 7.61 gigabytes, and it says out of that 1.14 gigabytes of RAM are currently being used, which is pretty good because I'm obviously recording in OBS on this machine. So I do have things running, and things that on other machines would maybe be pretty intensive. It does say that I'm using a pretty decent amount of CPU. I think it bumped up to 30% at some point. Yeah, 33%, 39% when I'm scrolling around and I've got the OBS screen up on my screen. But when I minimize it, it drops down to, now it's at 22%. 22% CPU usage. Not using very much RAM at all from what I can see here. It's kind of nice to have this like it is just kind of a built-in function of the home screen. Um, but yeah, one of the things I noticed about this version of Linux is the lack, or I guess maybe I'm just not using it right. I just installed this last night and I just played around with it a little bit, enough to get OBS. I think I installed VLC, and I think I also installed Caden Live on here, and then I also got K-Patience. So let's see if I can get that to run on here. What happens if I go to, I just keep going to all applications. Games, there's K-Patience right there. And then I only ever play Klondike because that's what I'm used to. And there's K-Patience. So let me go ahead and select that. And now you can see K-Patience is on my screen. So if I just go back into here, I can play a little bit of K-Patience. I think it's already saved the way I like to play. So it is drawing 3 cards at a time. The cool thing about this, I don't know if I've noticed this in versions of K-Patience that I've installed on other Linux computers, I'm sure, or operating systems. I'm sure it probably does do the same thing. I just never noticed this before, but it's got this thing down here that tells me when I can actually win the game or when I've messed it up enough that it's no longer winnable. So that's kind of cool. Say I make a move there, oh, it's still a winnable game. So I can go ahead and draw some more cards. And eventually, if I screw it up enough, it will tell me, like, hey, you can't win here. Which is kind of cool because K-Patience is one of the solitaire games that I've downloaded on any computer that seems to present some kind of challenge. Usually it's winnable every time, and I guess it must be winnable every time because I've never had it start up and say just right off the bat it's unwinnable. But it definitely is dealing the hand in a way that's more challenging than other versions of solitaire that I've played, because in most versions of solitaire that I've played, you can win every single time. You almost always win, like it's never a challenge, but it has been with this version. But yeah, so that's kind of what things look like on BunsenLabs. Again, these shortcuts are really cool. I wish if other versions of Linux have this, and I just don't know about it, if they just gave it an option by default, or as you're installing it, if it said, hey, do you want your RAM and your CPU usage to show up kind of as part of the desktop and along with your shortcut keys and stuff like that. I just think that's really cool. But let me go ahead and we'll go in to show how I installed some of these apps. So as I said, I installed the solitaire game, I installed OBS, and I also installed Caden Live on here. And I think I installed VLC, or that one might have come pre-installed on here. But if I go in here and I go to multimedia, here you can see, oh, and LMMS I installed as well. But here you can see I've got Caden Live. So if I go to, here's how you access your file folders. It's definitely interesting on how you get things, how you get access to things on here, but I don't think it would take long to get used to. Oh, Synaptic is how you get applications. It's the package manager on here. So if I want to get an application, I just go down here to Synaptic Package Manager. It does want you to provide your password every time you get access to it. But in here, it's kind of cool. You've got different categories here. So this is the Synaptic Package Manager. Obviously you see a lot of Debian little squirrels back there. So that means it is Debian based, I guess. But if I go to here, so I had to select all over here, and then if I type in Abbey Word, There you go. So if it's not installed, you get this little box, you check it, mark for installation. And then it's going to tell you what kind of changes it's got to make. Um, it's just really cool. And then once it's marked here, and then it doesn't actually install until you go to, so if I go to apply, then it's going to, and then it'll tell me what it's going to install. Just go ahead and select apply. It's downloading it. And in a second here, I guess I'll have Abby Word. Now it's unpacking everything. But it's a pretty cool but different way to run Linux on your computer. It's not what I'm familiar with, but it's definitely usable. So if I go back to, I'm just going to go to all applications, then maybe under Office, and there we go. Abby Word's on here. And I could just launch it from there. And now I'm typing. Oh my gosh, you guys are gonna see how slow of a typer I used to do customer service at a desk job for a living, and I was much faster at this than I am now. This is what happens when you switch to. I've done nothing but physical labor for like the past 3 years. But yeah, I'm just trying to show you that there's definitely a lot that you can do with these computers. So I've got Abby Word. I can type documents. I can browse the internet. I can play games. I can edit. I can actually launch Caden Live, and from here produce. I can edit and produce a video that I will be able to upload to YouTube. Or do whatever I want with it. I can professionally edit a video if I wanted to. I've never done anything like that before. But yeah, I mean, it's got access to, most, at least the most commonly used tools that I use in my life within this operating system, and it's just kind of a cool, different way of being able to use it. And it seems pretty light on resources, and it's free, which is always definitely within value, within budget for sure for me. So yeah, I mean that's just I think that's pretty cool. So later, what I'll do after I'm done recording here, I'm gonna take this home. I'll take the video, and I will put it into Caden Live on this machine, and I'll edit it down, and then I'll post it. You guys can see the results of what I've done here on this little computer that, again, I paid $7.85 for, and put a little bit of extra. Like I said on a previous video, I don't think I'm more than like $30 or so, possibly a little bit more than that total, including the cost of the computer, into this machine, and I'm going to be able to produce videos with it. I think that's amazing, personally. I know that you could probably do something similar with a cell phone, and I've seen that cell phones are used cell phones from like a couple years ago are not going for very much money anymore. I'm sure the phone that I'm shooting on right now, TCL 20 SE. It was a budget-friendly 4G smartphone released in 2021. So the video cut out, but it says here that the TCL 20 SE is a budget-friendly 4G smartphone released in 2021 for approximately $190. I'm positive I did not spend that much on this phone. But yeah, it has a Next Vision display, 48 megapixel rear quad camera system, all this other stuff. I used it because it was budget friendly, and eventually it came time to upgrade. I ended up upgrading to a Samsung, what is it, Samsung 54A or something. And I just had this computer. I just had this phone sitting around as kind of a backup in case I ever broke this one. But I've had this one now for a while, and it's coming time to upgrade that one. So I'm not really concerned about keeping this phone as a backup. And I just thought, well, wouldn't it be cool if if I took this phone and used it to shoot videos with, and uh, I was able to find a lavalier mic, I believe that's how it's pronounced, for not too much money, and I was able to get that to work with the phone. And so now, at the very least, if I don't end up using the video from the phone, I can at least use the audio and get that to sync up with the video that I'm shooting through this. Although this doesn't have the highest quality camera either. But either way, I am going to produce a video on this computer using this machine with, what is it again? BunsenLabs, the operating system, as my OS. And I'm pretty happy to see what it does. So anyway, I'm going to go ahead and close out the video at this point. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, leave a recommendation on what you think you would like to see me do next, whether that's another Linux video, or if you'd like to see me maybe do another one of my try new things where I usually taste test really cheap food items. But if people like those, or if you enjoy watching the videos where I try to make the foamiest bubble baths, go ahead and tune in for those as well. Maybe I'll make some more of those. Although my kids are too grown for that. In the video that I did post, the most recent one, I found um, from filming myself making the bubble bath years ago. And I just decided to go ahead and add some music to it and do some real um, slight production to it, and post that. But yeah, again, be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and leave a recommendation. And whatever you recommend, that might just end up being my next video. But for now, peace. Get vaccinated. A lot of people in my area are getting sick. Um, and yeah, I'll see you in the next video.